If you
Are
can't
we
do it online,
ready
'cause
for
the referees
this?
are often bad, just go in.
Are we ready, everyone?
Hi.
Hello.
We're ready.
So, chat has yet to see the reveal, so you are still a mystery to them.
I should get my Bowser. Here's my Bowser.
Yeah, I should get my Princess Peach.
Oh,
Hey.
this is amazing. Well,
I recognize that Peach.
hello everybody
Was
watching.
that Reno? I think it was Reno. Sorry.
No,
Okay.
you're fine. Watching far and wide across the expanse of the earth. My name's MissClick. Chat, welcome in. We have a very special surprise for you today. Some beautiful faces I would like to reveal to you. So just the chemistry among these people has been absolutely fantastic and inspiring, and I cannot wait to share their company with you today. Welcome in, everyone, to the stream today for the Super Mario panel. Yay, everybody's here!
Yay! Yippee!
I am so just beyond thrilled to see you guys, to be with you, to hang out today. For those of you who are tuning into the stream for the first time, welcome in. My name is MissClick. And for those of you who do know, well, I apologize about that. We've had some times together. It's been great. But I did want to say today, starting off, thank you to Streamily for making this stream happen, for bringing us all together, for allowing me to join in on this special day. We're here with the legendary cast of the legendary Super Mario series, and we're going to be promoting. They are doing autographs later. I believe later today you will be doing autographs, but if you want a print for yourself to be autographed, you can find that in the Streamily store, which is linked in my description. It is also going to be in chat. Mods will be helping make that happen for you, and we're just going to be hanging out, talking, answering questions that you guys might have, and it's going to be an absolute blast. So if you want a autographed copy for yourself or for someone this holiday season, consider picking one up, and yeah, make someone's day. So how are you guys?
Wow.
Doing well? Okay, cool.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Well, let me do some introductions in case anybody at home might not be familiar. And if you aren't familiar, have you been living under a rock for the last forever? We have some beautiful faces here today. First off, starting with the one and only Mr. Charles Martinet, aka the voice of Mario and the Bros himself. How are you?
Ho ho! Mamma mia! Let's go! I'm a rockin' day. Everybody teaching me. Hello.
Blessing us with her graceful, bright, and beautiful presence is Samantha Kelly, aka the voice of Princess Peach, and surprisingly, a lot of people didn't know this, also the voice of Toad.
Yeah.
Let's go!
Hi, guys.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot believe that. I actually just have recently found that out myself too. So we gotta talk about that later because
Cool. All right.
my mind was
That
blown.
always makes me grit my teeth when she does that. It's like,
Sorry,
that
Penny.
sound is so weird.
Oh, and stomping his way into our hearts, we have the not so scary or intimidating Mr. Kenny James, aka Bowser himself.
Oh, there he is. The camera's kind of far away.
No, it's working perfectly. He's just as big as we imagined him. And last but not least, we have the ever so graceful and technically one of the newer beautiful additions to the Super Mario family, which is our very own, as we like to say, galactic mom, Rosalina, Miss Laura Faye Smith over here. Or sorry, yeah, Miss Laura Faye Smith.
Yay.
Hi.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh, I'm just I love it when you guys say your voice lines. It just it's just my heart sings. So never thought I'd ever get
He
to
likes you.
I win Bowser's
That's
approval.
good.
As long as I don't get kidnapped, we're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. So we're gonna be here for like the next hour or so, just answering questions that you guys have had that we've chosen through the Discord that you have set up, or a couple that we have that we just want to kind of know about you guys. And we know you've done tons of interviews before, so thanks for bearing with us as we ask you these additional questions. But yeah, I guess we kind of dive right into it and see where the conversation goes from there. Does that sound all right to you guys?
Let's do it.
Dangerous.
Cool.
Perfect.
Dangerous. I like it. All right. So first off, we should get into the origin stories, right? For those who might know of you, but they haven't necessarily got to sit down and know about you necessarily. When did you know you wanted to become a voice actor. Did you ever fully know? Was it intentional, or did it kind of sort of naturally evolve from previous interests? I guess we can kind of start, and I don't know if the room order is the same for everybody, but I guess Mr. Charles Martinet, we'll start with you.
I you know, when I was growing up, I really didn't know what a voice actor was. I thought Fred Flintstone was real and Barney was real and, you know, Daffy Duck was real. So I had no concept of it. I wasn't going to be an actor. I started suddenly, I left UC Berkeley before I graduated because I couldn't get the classes I wanted. I ended up taking acting classes, you know, and just was doing acting, theater acting, and then started doing corporate films and videos and radio. Came later when I was doing a video commercial, and it was for Orchard Supply Hardware. And the producer, after sitting there doing our stance as the American Gothic, you know, the guy with the pitchfork and his wife by the barn, he said, "Great, do you do voiceover?" And I said, "Sure." And I had absolutely no idea. I really didn't know. And he said, "Well, here, read this." And I said, "Orchard Supply Hardware, the right item at the right price right now. You know, and here's another $250. I'm a voice actor."
Yay!
Yay! That's how I sort of felt. And then I just, 1,000 radio commercials and 100 TV commercials later. And, then all of a sudden, along came Mario.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's great.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's gonna work out, Charles.
I think it's gonna work.
It's a hunch.
It's good.
Where were you at now on, I'm becoming the question asker. You're at what, 32 years, Mario, now, or 33?
30 years, 31.
Yeah, I know.
I auditioned 31 years ago.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Well, we just got through celebrating the 35th anniversary. So basically, since the inception, you've been right along for the ride. So
the first and only official voice of Mario. So that's been really a joy.
Can we get
really,
some?
What an honor! And one gift after another. Here's a guy named Wario, do his voice. And here's a guy Waluigi, and here's the brother Luigi, and it's just one wonderful gift after another. It's been so much fun working with Nintendo, and then going about and meeting fans and doing the shows. It's the love and the joy of the fans that lets us do what we love to do. And my thing is with everybody is find out what you love to do and follow it. Follow your heart, do your dream, live your dream, find your passions and do it, because life is so short. I'm quite tall. But life happens so fast, and you can stick yourself in a corporate world or in a world that you're not happy in. And if you're not being happy, you gotta shake yourself into it and get out there and do it, because life is a gift, and you should be unwrapping it and enjoying it every second of it. So that's my 2 cents.
I love that. I mean, it is so important, especially nowadays when people can certainly feel the stress and oftentimes question their direction and what it's meant to be for them. And oftentimes we're told you have to work hard and be miserable at working hard. And the question, it also raises the thing of, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And of course it is hard work, but you still enjoy it. And you still, again, wake up with a renewed sense of, I guess, thankfulness. So no, that's great advice.
You kind of have to get out of your own way in terms of getting rid of your own negative beliefs. I think you were mentioning something like, I can either be work and be happy, or I can be happy and not work, or rich. And, that you have to get rid of those negative beliefs and get rid of that third eye that watches you, that parental negative voice, or the negative, whatever that voice is that we all have. And just, put it aside and be your own best friend and start following your heart.
I love that. I love that so much. All right, who wants to go next? Who wants to follow? No, I'm kidding. I guess I'll move on to Miss Laura Faye. What was your? How did you know that you wanted to become a voice actor? And again, was it?
I did not know. I grew up being like a huge June Foray fan. I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle. When I realized how many of the voices on that show were her, I was like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing a documentary about that and thinking that's amazing. But I came to acting and this whole career by doing live theater. That's what I was basically doing for the most part. And then when I was living in Portland, I ended up getting an agent, so I was doing commercial and, a little bit of film and whatever. And then every now and then they would submit me for voiceover. And I thought, this is so fun. I don't have to memorize anything. I don't have to wear makeup. I don't have to worry about how I look. Like, it felt so easy next to what I've been doing, which is like, being up in front of a lot of people and having to know what you're doing and fix it if it goes wrong, or, doing take after take, like all those things. It just seemed like so easy and so fun. And that was just doing like really unglamorous, like Kroger ads or industrials. And like, but even that was like, what a great way to make money. I think my first voiceover was for the deli at Kroger. Like, I remembered, it was like training employees how, like, it was that unglamorous of a job. I'm like, this is cool. And then a voice only agency opened in Portland, in both years, who I'm actually still with. And then that's when I started getting into doing like auditions for animation and, video game and stuff like that. And then I was like, okay, this is really great. Like, this is taking everything I learned as an actor.
Yeah.
And like putting it into that same thing. And that is one of the things I absolutely love about the video game and animation thing. It's that combination of everything I had been working and learning on, in a medium that I enjoy so much as well. And I still enjoy live theater and on-camera work, but there is something pretty exciting about doing it in this way, especially now because of living in a pandemic, like the ability to record from home or to, just be by yourself in a booth. That's been a great way to still practice the craft, because theater pretty much went away. Like, I was cast in a play that was supposed to start rehearsals a week after the pandemic was declared, and the whole project just got scrapped.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I just kind of stumbled into it. I didn't have intentions for it, but once I got into it, I thought, oh, this is fantastic.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, from deli meat to a galactic princess, like, who would have thought? Let's go.
All right.
Hey, I mean, what do you think Rosalina's favorite deli meat would be?
Oh gosh. I almost would think, I don't know, does she eat meat? That's a great question.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't, maybe there's no galactic meat. We don't know. It's probably some weird thing. I put you on the spot with that question. It was just...
No, I mean, I've never even thought about what they eat.
My squirrel brain was just like, deli meat.
They were saying she was going to eat squirrel brains.
Oh, I feel bad for the Loomis having to sit there and be like, Mom, you okay?
What are you doing? What are you giving us?
What are you doing, Mom? Anyways, Miss Samantha Kelly, how about you? What was your origin story as a voice actor?
Oh yeah, super shy little kid, and so I didn't even talk for like the first, all the way through 5th grade. I couldn't even talk. If a teacher spoke to me, I just cry, because I was so shy. My mom was like, well, maybe you can be a librarian or a research person someday. And so the thing, and maybe you guys can relate to this with acting, is that it's like once you put on a costume or you put on makeup, you are putting on a self that's other than you. Mm-hmm. And you know this when you play games too. If you're putting on the character, you're living something extra. And so I loved that. But like Laura, it was even more free because I have a really expressive face. And so I tried to do auditions for things like what Laura does, because she's like on commercials and things like that, her face, and she's on shows. And my face is so big that when I do any auditions for television or anything, it's like, it's really frightening to people. And so they're kind of like, yeah, thanks. No, thank you. And so to do voice work, because you can be so foolish, like you can just be as big as you want to be and nobody's going to go, wow, take it down a notch, and mostly they want you to be as big as you can be. And to me, that was like, for a shy person, so fun. And so now I love it. I think it's and I love the community, what Charles said. I mean, I think that if the rest of the world was as joyful and non-judgmental and loving as the gaming community, the world would be a totally squared away place.
Yep.
And so I think I read this study in pandemic that who are the people who have the most solid mental health in pandemic? And it was people who played games, because the world isn't all messed up. The world is still, your world is understandable and beautiful, and you're still in it. And so there's a healthiness to that I don't think we think about very much. So it's just a great honor to be a part of that, especially now.
Samantha, just about what you said, and maybe Kenny and Charles, do you do weird stuff with your face when you're trying to do voices, like Audition, trying to put Jewish and, like.
Yeah. Or underwater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Oh, but I really do love what you kind of, said about the gaming community and I remember when everything first really hit, with the pandemic and stuff, is people were asking me how I'm doing. And I felt guilty almost answering, I think I'm doing okay. I felt guilty almost in a way, where it was like, I'm still working from home. I'm still streaming. I'm still wearing comfortable clothes, and I get to be with my cats every day, which he probably has developed attachment issues now because of it. Like, it's really quite honestly like a blessing, and a fact that we can still work from home, and for you guys to still be able to maybe not be able to do live theater, but still be able to be behind the scenes, behind the voices, and still be able to bring joy to people and to share those experiences and create memories with people, whether it's not necessarily through face-to-face or over a video call, but through a character. And I'm sure that we can attest for many people, and in chat, they can really speak on how much, you guys have helped get many of us through just so much over the past year, and I'm sure that's a great weight, but also, it is such a testament to you guys and your talent of just how impactful. And I love the fact that voice acting has become so much more revered over all this time. It's become like, I just feel like I hear more and more kids every day saying like, oh, I want to be a voice actor, and I feel like that's something that you necessarily wouldn't have heard, even just a decade ago. It wasn't something that was well known. So to have legends like you sit and speak and talk with people, and for those of you who are at home who might be interested in doing voice acting yourself, I hope that their advice is really speaking to you and to your heart about this. But enough for me. We should really move on to Mr. Kenny James. What was your origin story? What was the story with you?
Sam and Charles both know that this can go on for days, but I'm going to try to, give you the, Reader's Digest condensed version. It went all the way back to when I was a little kid, and, you're one of those kids that gets in trouble all the time because you're impersonating television, either cartoons or even, I can remember doing, just living for 1 Adam 12, See the Man, 415, blah, 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 blah. And we were doing this constantly and getting in trouble. So, and then though, when I was in the Navy on submarines in the 80s, and one time we were in Hawaii and we were loading exercise torpedoes so we could go out and fake shoot things to be certified again. And there was a torpedo-man or an auxiliary-man, I can't remember which, but we were between weapons, and I was just riffing on whatever. And this guy goes, "You're too weird to be human." And I went, "That's cool." And he goes, "You should be a cartoon character." And I went, "Dude, that's awesome." So still years and years later, and I still hadn't done anything. And then eventually I went, wait, I had this thing where I thought I could do this thing. And I built a little tiny website back about the beginning of cable internet. It was still really slow, but I built this little teeny thing, and I went and I took classes at the University of Washington experimental campus in Seattle. And the instructor, I don't know if I'd say professor, but the instructor, he also did demos. So I did really good in his class, and would you do a demo for me? So he did. And so I had that in hand, and just working my normal job, I actually bumped into a part-time producer at Bad Animals in Seattle. And she overheard me talking about doing voice work. And I said, "I'm trying." And she was like, "Do you have a demo?" "Yes, I do." Here it is. She sends it over to Wendy at Bad Animals, the production manager. she started sending me auditions, and eventually one of them was for Bowser, and I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, set it and forget it. And you know, I wound up getting it, and now it's been 18 years. But at the same time, though, I started all of my acting stuff. I see Charles going, chuck, yep. And I'm like,
18 years.
Isn't it weird? And I'm like, I started all of my acting stuff at the same time. Now, I had been on stage as a frontman for bands for a bunch of years before, but I had never done any acting. So I started theater and voice acting at the same time. And I still, to this day, and she's right, theater is wonky now because of contact and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But also with what I do now, it's really hard to commit to a show because I'm out doing conventions a lot. And so you go, oh, well, yeah, I can do the rehearsal schedule, but then the shows are on weekends, and that's when I'm gone. But I absolutely adore theater. I did 22 or 24 shows in 10 years. And that's what I still, to this day, when people go, I want to be a voice actor, I go, if you want to be a voice actor, first be an actor. And we'll tell them, go to a community theater and audition. You might not get the lead, but you're going to get, you're probably going to get something.
Yeah.
Do it. You'll learn how to act. You'll learn how to take direction and all that stuff. But anyway, I'm preaching, but it's, that was my origin, was just all of a sudden something snapped and I went, I want to do this and I want to do this, which was voice acting and theater. And the voice acting thing, I was in the right place at the right time. I'll tell everybody that. For the Bowser thing, right place, right time, and I could do a good Scott Burns. Hi, Scott. Because my audition were the lines from Sunshine, and I thought they wanted a voice match. So I did my best Scott Burns and wound up getting hired, and then they wouldn't let me talk. So, But it all comes down to just wanting to get in front of people and show off. And I'm the same way with Laura. There's things that I've done that people go, what else have you done? And I'm like, well, I've interrupted your Spotify playlist, to tell you about Post-it notes. I mean, chili cow, ice cream, I mean, you never know. So yeah, but I love it, every second of it. And now I'm in the Dallas area because of anime. I work at Funimation, and I'm constantly going bang, 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 bang. All sorts of shows, all sorts of characters. My best known character is additional voices at this time. But I do a lot of additional voices. So.
Additional voices are fun.
Hey,
it's
you a
the
goat
easiest.
or something? You were like a goat guy,
Oh,
right?
Miyagi. Yeah.
Oh, got you.
The Zoe arc in One Piece. I was this goat doctor named Miyagi. So, yeah, he's cool. Anyway, that's enough about me. How about everybody else?
Oh, well, so I guess you guys kind of went into it. I was going to ask you like what your first gig was, but I guess we can kind of move on since you each kind of talked about it a little bit is, I guess, what was your first memory of Nintendo growing up? Or for you, like for some of you, you've been around since like Nintendo's inception of the video game industry, so like my parents were very my parents were very like they were very much in the arcade scene, so the whole concept, going from an arcade to now you can play it at home was a very foreign concept to them. And I think my father was a bit stubborn, thinking that like, no, the arcade scene can't go away, like who wants to play video games at home? And boy, was he wrong. So like,
you gotta go to the mall and go to the gold mine. There was always like big malls had the gold mine, and it was an arcade.
Yeah.
I lived for it.
With the big
I
claw
do.
machine out front.
Yeah. My dad would always take us with quarters. So we were very young, but because, my parents, like, they skipped a generation in having kids, it was like, I had friends who were all home with their consoles and they're like, where's yours? And I'm like, I have quarters. That's what I got. So, I do have a fond appreciation for the arcade, but also at the same time, like watching my parents learn to fall in love with, the Nintendo, as they call it. All the consoles are the Nintendo. You're on the Nintendo. Yeah.
Got the Instagrams.
Yeah.
Got the
Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when I started, I remember when I was in college, one of my college roommates for Christmas got a gaming system, and it was Super Mario World. And Charles, you almost made me flunk out of that year of college. I played that nonstop. And like, if one of us was always on, I remember I'd like come home from class and my roommate would be like, I learned to fly. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, show me how to fly. And we would like play and play and play. And at some point I was like, thank God, like that I moved out of that apartment because we got nothing done while we were playing.
You know what? That Super Mario World and Super Nintendo is still one of my favorite games and one of my favorite soundtracks of all.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it. I still, every time I hear music from that game, I'm all like,
yeah. I remember, and then I won. I took a break. I wasn't playing as much because I didn't have a system. And then I won in a raffle. I won a Game Boy.
Wow.
And I like got super obsessed with it again. And I was in a play with this kid. I was doing like It's a Wonderful Life for children's theater. And one of the kids in the show was so mortified that I only had like one game for it. He gave me a bunch of his old games.
Oh,
for you.
I'm gonna take care of you. Like, this is sad. Why do you only have like one game? I'm like, well, it only came with one game. And I was like playing that. And he's like, that's not okay. You can't just have one game. So then I was like back in it and obsessed. And then I took a break from that. And then I was doing another play with a gamer friend, and he had just gotten a DS Lite. And I was like the lead in that show, but any second I was off stage, I was back there. I was playing, it was the Wario games. I can't remember the name of it.
WarioWare or something like that?
Yeah, it was like all the little mini games on the DS.
I love that series.
Oh my God, obsessed. Like, I would just be like any second I could. And he actually was like, give me money, I'll go buy you one on a break. And I was like, great. And I remember he bought me like this light pink DS Lite. I still have it.
Oh.
And then later he and I and another guy were in a show that was awful. And we would race Mario Kart on the internet backstage. Like, we would race each other on it. So any second we weren't on stage, we were in the back racing on this. And we would put our DS Lights in like the pockets. It was like turn of the century costumes. Like, I was in this big wig and this long dress, and it had a pocket, and I'd put my DS Lite in my pocket and go out and do my lines and then go back off, and we'd get like right back into our race. So I'm sure you guys were all with me when I was doing that show.
Hey, I didn't do games backstage, but I had a tendency to fixate on other things, so I understand that. But with me, it was more show references to comedies and stuff, and I'd be doing lines from things and then cracking up and then getting yelled at because I didn't make my entrance at a rehearsal. It'd be all like, where are you? I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah. So... yeah, no, I get it.
Aw.
But wait, the original question, wasn't it like, how did we get
Your first
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
thing?
Your first memory with
Oh.
Nintendo.
My first wife got me the original NES with the robot thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That whole big giant thing for a Christmas present, 1985.
Wow.
I was still in the Navy, and I hated that robot. It ate D batteries and it didn't work great. So, but I really loved, playing Mario, and I loved playing Duck Hunt. So
There you go.
except for that dog. God, I hate that dog.
I'd love to laugh at you.
No, I hate that. Oh, I hate that dog. Anyway, that's as far as I'm going on the dog.
Well, how about you?
I apologize.
Oh.
My chair keeps creaking.
You're fine. I don't even think we hear it.
You don't hear it? Okay.
It
Wow.
wants to
Hear
be
it.
a voice actor too. So,
Yeah, I'm working on it.
how about you, Miss Samantha?
I had never even played the games until I got the voice. I went into Audition, and Jen Taylor was doing Peach and Toad at the time.
Mhm.
And my voice was a really good match. I could match her, and it felt very natural to me. And so I got that, and then I didn't even realize how amazing it was. And it was a few months after the games the first games, it was like 2007 when it came out. And I was a new stepmom. My husband that I married had a little boy who was about 5 or 6 years old. And I was ready to be an evil stepmother, but I was like, I'm not evil, I'm nice. And so I was trying to find ways to bond with this little kid who was missing his mom, he was missing his brothers. And I went, well, I'll just get this game. My voice is in it. Oh, I loved it. It was so amazing. So we got the Nintendo Wii, and Mario Kart was my first. And I'm playing with this little boy. And it was hilarious because there was 2 frames. There was one up and one down. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I am actually really good at this. I'm actually so good at this. And I'm just loving it. And then I realized I'm looking at the wrong frame. And he's the one who's really good at it. And I'm like against a wall going,
You're looking at the wrong side of the screen.
So embarrassing. Yeah. So he's laughing at me. But we bonded and spent many years playing and just having so much fun together. And it was because of that game. And, the ability to make we made me's of his mom and of his brothers. And we felt like it brought our family really close. And so I love Nintendo for that reason.
Oh, that's so sweet, though. The fact that it ended up becoming something that, I mean, now it's a legacy for sure, but what started out as like that bonding moment. And even remembering of like, I'm sure we all can attest, like you're looking at the wrong screen and you're like, I'm doing so well. Wow, look at me go. And then someone's like, no, that's me. That's me. I had a moment like that when Super Mario Party first came out, not too long ago, a couple years ago. It was like, I'm doing so well. And someone's like, Miss, that's not you. That's me. I'm like, this is live. I can't edit this out. Okay.
I was at a convention maybe a year and a half ago or so, and they asked if I would play Mario Kart 8 with little kids.
Oh, goodness.
They were like, for about 45 minutes. I was like, yeah, this will be great. And they gave me a microphone so I could while I was doing it. But it was 4-player, split screen with Wii modes. And the littler those kids were, the worse I did. Their 5-year-olds were destroying me. And I was all like, I got it. Okay, wait, I finished 7th? I'm like, what? Wait, what? So, no, I get it. It's sometimes things don't compute.
Yep.
Whoa.
How about you, Mr. Charles Martinet?
I don't know what that noise was.
Oh, my goodness. When I crashed the audition to get the job, I was on the beach. My pager went off. My friend said, you got to come. I went to the phone. You got to come and crash this audition because it's for a show in Las Vegas. There's no way I could ever crash an audition. I'm a professional actor. Where should I go? Does he give me the direct? I went there, I cut the guys. He's going out. I'm going in the door. Can I read for this? And he said, sure. All right, come on in. You're an Italian plumber from Brooklyn named Mario for Nintendo. And I'm like, I'd never heard of Nintendo. I had never heard of Mario. I'm like, Italian plumber from Brooklyn. Okay. Hey, get out of my face. I work at here. I thought, well, that doesn't sound like fun. He goes, but you're going to talk all day long. And we don't know if this real-time animation system called MERT is going to work or not, Mario in real time. So if it doesn't work, you're gonna have to talk all day. So make up a voice, make up a video game, make up anything you want, just talk. And when you run out of things to say, that's your audition. And I said, okay, I'll make it somebody who's nice and happy. And I had played Gremio and Taming of the Shrew in a play a few years before. And that, nice Italian guy. I thought maybe I'll make that younger. But what do I know about video games? Action. Hello, I'm a Mario. Let's make a pizza pie together. And I started making up food because that's what I enjoy. And I just kept going because he didn't say stop. And so I didn't stop going until I heard, stop talking, cut, there's no more tape. Thank you, we'll be in touch. I had talked, I guess, for 30 minutes of this tape. And I thought, okay, well, that's it. That's the end of this thing. Go back to the beach and watch the sunset. And I
You'll
did.
never work in this town again.
Yeah, and he got on the phone and he goes, I found our Mario, I got him. And they only sent my tape up to Nintendo. And I guess Mr. Miyamoto heard it. Everybody said, yeah, that's the guy who will never Shut up.
So they only sent your tape to him.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's like 31 years ago now. Yeah.
Wow. And he fell in love with
2 days
it.
later, I was down in LA we were fitting for these, masks of death with roller balls on them. So when I moved my mouth and moved my face, the roller balls would move, and that would go through a supercomputer the size of your desk, and we had dry ice on the supercomputer because the numbers it was crunching were so complicated and so long. And now it's like a couple of Apple computers, and there we go.
You could probably do that on a cell phone now.
Yes, no doubt. No doubt.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
It really is. It's just like, you talk about it is the right place at the right time, but it's also being ready,
Yeah.
because I had done 75 plays. I had done 600 corporate videos and films and, things and TV shows. And then all of a sudden, there you are at the right time. Jack Nicholson said it took me 20 years to make it overnight. But it's really true. It's like, so be an actor, be an actor, be an actor, but watch cartoons, play video games, listen to other voices. Why does somebody with a big choice, jowls, maybe hear, why do I talk like that? Why does the guy with the bitty neck think that, we don't know. I must have said something close to Siri because Siri is now telling me something about what's wrong with my hair.
well, I do like what you said as far as like, especially quoting Jack Nicholson, it took years to form overnight. I feel like sometimes people get really discouraged because they see so much, talent out there as far as voice actors, or now we have online personalities, or even, Hollywood stars, in my generation, like internet wasn't, like we grew up through the, the evolution of the internet, but, I just barely remember, as a young child, like it was still Hollywood was like the main thing. And then obviously now as you're getting older, people are like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, or I want to be a streamer. And that's the thing, is people realize like they'll start out and they'll give it a go, and then they realize like, oh, this isn't taking off right away, and they feel like something's wrong with them. And I think the important thing is, like you said, remembering that, it is being at the right place at the right time sometimes, but oftentimes it's building the talent, building the skill, knowing what to do. So when the opportunity presents itself, you can take it by the horns and be like, I got you, kind of thing, and show them what you got, or not stop talking.
There's that phrase, preparation plus opportunity equals luck, which I've always thought. So
I mean, I go back to Andy Warhol sometimes when people ask me about, Bowser and stuff. I go, yeah, this is my 18-year, 15 minutes of fame.
Oh.
So, I'm like, yeah, it works sometimes.
Yeah,
and you can't get just, of course you get discouraged. Everybody has their ups and downs, but be your own best friend. If your friend is there and said, I'm not succeeding, it's okay. Keep working, keep enjoying it. Pack your own parachute, keep your job, so you don't starve.
I like that, Charles. I like pack your own parachute.
Yeah,
I like that.
The mythology of the starving artist is really a mythology because, but it's, if you believe that, then that's what you'll be doing, is starving. You need to break that belief and say, I can do this. I want to do this, and follow your heart through the doorway.
I think too, I think there's so many people who think, oh, I've got to be like what already exists. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like casting, they know it when they hear it, and sometimes they want what's next. Like they're not looking for anyone to recreate what Charles is doing, or Kenny. They're just like, I'll know it when I hear it, and if it's interesting and charming, and like, I love your story, Charles, about you got on, you like talked for 30 minutes, and you just kind of inhabited this character, and you showed what you would bring to the table if you were cast in that role. And you're just kind of like spitballing and going through and just doing whatever and being uninhibited and yourself. And I think that is so important in terms of breaking into this. I think you can take tons of training, and training is important, but bringing a lot of who you are is actually what's interesting to cast.
It is true. And remembering too that it's not brain surgery or cancer research. It's it's a play. It's called a play, not a brain surgery. It's a show. It's so have fun, for heaven's sakes.
If you're not having fun, no one else. If you're just like working so hard, like
no energy goes through tension, or through nervous tension.
Yeah, I think it had been explained to me at one point that oftentimes it's learning to identify, like when you have nerves, learn to observe it as excitement, you know, and learn to kind of channel that energy into being something productive versus allowing it to hold you back.
Sure.
Even
Can I give my little story about the first time I did a monologue? I stood up there and I was shaking so much. My right foot was shaking so much. My knees were not. So I put my weight on that one, and then my left one was going like this. So when I heard this voice inside, put your weight between the two legs. So I put myself between the two legs, and then they were both shaking like this, you know. And I'm convinced that the audience was hearing. But at the end, you know, everybody goes, "Oh, that's very good." How is it possible that you're the only person who wasn't nervous? And I'm like, what? I was terrified. I thought I was going to die. But I guess I was acting.
Charles, one of the first I had my first college audition, I was so nervous. Exact same thing. I had to keep switching my weight between my feet because if I had one up, my heel would bang the floor because my legs were shaking so bad. And it was for a tiny part, and I was still just like, and I'd done theater all through college, but I mean through high school. But then I hit college, and I thought, oh gosh, I really want this, and my body, like that adrenaline took over. I think exactly what you were talking about.
I think everybody can relate to that same thing. I mean, some of my first real band audition, when I decided I wanted to be a lead singer instead of a drummer, I went to this band house in their basement. This was a very successful cover band, and they were looking for a new singer. And I did the same thing. Except it was this. They went, "Can you sing Sweet Child of Mine?" And I was like, I think I know it pretty good. And they went, "Oh, well, here's the lyrics." And you could literally hear this. Because I'm holding this piece of paper in front of the mic. And the guitar player, who was the leader of the band, was all like, "Dude, relax." And I was like, I can't. It was just, and it was, and I stunk. And they said, "We hear something in there, so go home for 3 days and study these songs and then come back." And I came back, and he was like, "If you want the job, you got it." So I was like,
"Oh, wow."
Right. So see, even if you're scared, it can still work out.
And don't you think like the frequency as well is like the more that you do something, the more you're going to get comfortable with it. And somehow we expect you, well, you're supposed to just be able to feel comfortable and do this. Well, we don't, you know, unless you do it a lot. And so I think like what you said, we've got to be willing to do it and do it shaking or do it afraid or do it messy. And then that's where you eventually reach a point where, I mean, I don't know, like now, do you guys ever feel scared or nervous now?
Every time I go in for anime session.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the most part. And so you walk in there and it's like, "Oh, this is an episode of some show that you've never seen. And you're this guy." And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is. The cartoon's already been made. And I don't know. I still get scared.
That's encouraging that you say that you get
scared.
You get scared. That's actually encouraging. Yeah. If people are honest, I think that we do.
For sure. And I think the more you want it, sometimes the worse that is, you know, like when the more stakes you're giving it of like, I really want this job, or I'd really love to be on this show, or I'd really love to book this game.
That's a good point.
Where your nerves go up higher because your desire is so much higher. And sometimes the stuff you are like, either you think you're such a long shot, you're like, I am never.
Yes, exactly.
You go in and you're just like, and they're like, "We love her. She's so."
You're like, wait,
nervous because I didn't care because I didn't think it was possible.
And then sometimes they just don't hear it in it.
Yeah. And then sometimes, and I feel like, you know, in terms of people talking about kind of the ups and downs of, you know, like there's times where you're booking like crazy and you feel like you're doing the same things that you've always done. And then you're a little later, it's like nobody's interested at all. And you're going, it's the zeitgeist of sometimes what people are looking for. And it's just not, I think Carol Burnett said once, and I love this, that she talked about not booking stuff. And she says, "It wasn't my turn. It was that other woman's turn." And I'm like, that's so true. And that's such a great way to think about it, that it can't always be your turn 100% of the time. And it is okay in those moments when you're not doing as much to work on your stuff or experiment more in that period of time, because why not? You're not booking anyways. So just start having a good time again and getting back in touch with why you did this in the first place, and, you know, pushing what you're comfortable with and trying new things.
Yeah. The Ron Popeil, you know, thing. It's set it and forget it. If you agonize over an audition, you're going to drive yourself nuts.
Yeah.
Set it.
And that's
and
that
forget
critical eye that I'm talking about too. It's like your job, the audition is the job in itself, because your job is to have fun. It's come and play in our sandbox, bring your toys. You know, it's nothing to be nervous about. We all get terrified sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you gain confidence because you've done it so many years, there's just nothing to be nervous about anymore. At a certain point, like being in front of people, or you know, we're not doing nuclear research, so I don't have to answer questions on physics, or, you know, but I have to be myself now. And then to me, it's like you talk about, Laura, you talk about bringing yourself, and that's all I bring now, you know.
that's a really good point. That's profound, Charles.
Well, and you won't be nervous after you keep doing these shows enough time, because you'll go in there going, great, I get to start another character that I've never done before, I've never heard of before, and this one is mine. You know, because you do that. You do gain that sense of self and confidence where it's an adventure and a fun thing.
And, you know, Samantha, you said early on something I really liked. You talked about that you're shy, and when you're taking on a character, it's easier for, you know, to be gregarious. Because when I'm putting myself on tape, I'm fine when I'm playing the character, but my slate sometimes is the thing that takes me the longest. Is where I'm just like, hi, I'm Laura Faye Smith. You know, like you're coming on, say that, and I look like a serial killer. I'm like, hi, I'm Laura Faye Smith. Like, where I just look miserable, and like, because I'm like, now I'm being me and I hate this moment. like 50 slates and 2 takes of the actual thing, because playing the character.
Oh my God.
That's fine. But then when I've got to just be myself, I'm like, oh, weird. And why do you do it with your face? And, you know, you go nuts for the 2 seconds of saying your name, and then everything else is like, character.
Even audio slates, I do that.
Right.
It doesn't even have to be a self-tape video thing. It could be an audio slate, and I'm like, Kenny James. And I listen to it and I go, oh my God, I sound like somebody else.
Yeah. Or you sound like someone had you at gunpoint when you say
I know.
Laura Faye Smith.
Say it, Kenny James.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's a good point.
And because it is sometimes, I think, as an actor, when you're used to disappearing into stuff, and that is when you feel more playful, and then you're more self-conscious and judgy when it's you.
So true.
Sorry, Miss.
In a philosophical way, you know, you bring yourself to something, but they want you to be great.
Yeah,
you know, it's like you go on stage, everybody in that house wants this to be the best thing they've ever seen.
For sure.
And the only person who cannot give that to them is you, if you're looking here and going, oh God, I'm too tall, I'm too skinny, I'm too fat, I should be more quote on stage. You know, your inner critic that is the thing that gets in the way. Be great. Go ahead, be great.
And you know what? And that, I know it sounds cliche as far as acting goes, but that goes right back to the moment before. If you can get it in your head, the moment before, then you're in the character's brain and you're like, all right, this is what just happened, and I've got to open this door and go in here, and then you're there.
Yeah.
I know we've gotten really deep here. Sorry, Miss.
No, believe me, I am like one of the most
took over.
No, I'm like one of the most sentimental, like uber get into deep topics. So like I said, this is free flow. You guys go for it. I'm just like taking in all the advice, like it's tattooing all over my body right now. It's sticking with me. So and chat's eating it up too. So
what you were talking about too is I think improv is such a huge part now of auditioning for games, and like they really want to hear, like I always do a little bit of, like, not too much, you know, you don't want to just like be rewriting what they did, but I certainly will put a lot of just like my, you know, just riffing in there into things, because I think that that's a thing now. Like people really want people who can contribute. They're not looking for you to just come in and, I mean, they'll tell you obviously if they just want you to say it exactly as it is, but a lot of times they are kind of looking for what you're bringing to it, and that's where they're going to see it.
Yeah.
And at least you can do it on the second take. Give them exactly what they
right.
wrote. First take, second take, I'm on my own.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I would do with it. And I think that's engaging. If I were listening, I'd go, wow, I like the way you know.
Especially in casting, listening to hundreds and hundreds of auditions in a day. Like Jeff Galante is this actor down here who always talks about the horseshoe theory, where you know, if you think of the horseshoe, the way it's shaped, you've got like the 2% up here that's amazing, and the 2% that was like, what was that? That was like, you know, terrible. And then all the rest falls into this horseshoe of from not too great to just fine to pretty darn good. But these are the ones people remember, the very best and the very worst. And it's like, what keeps you out of the horseshoe is being memorable in some way. And so that's where things like improv and taking risk and things like that come in to, I think, being really helpful when you're, you know, trying to show them, here's who I am as an actor. Here's what I bring to the table. If you're collaborating with me, this is what I do.
And if you're there to have fun,
yes,
those resources are right at your fingertips. You don't have to think, I think I'll improvise. It's like, I'm here to have fun. Oh, I want to put the, you know, put the word walnut in this, you know, and there it's about fun.
Little kids don't think about, wow, how am I going to structure this imaginary play that I'm doing? Little kids are just like, this is what I'm doing.
You're just playing.
Yeah. And the more that we can be like that, I think that's more appealing than bringing our fully composed adult selves to whatever's going on.
I have never been a fully composed adult self.
I know that about you.
Well, I mean, you still, like, you know, you pay your bills and you know how to drive a car. So I'd say you're doing pretty well, you know? It's just everything else about you is unapologetically Kenny, you know?
Weird?
No, Kenny, like, it's Kenny, you know, like it's a brand now at this point, you know, like when you're going for a new character, it's like, okay, this is Kenny's brand of a character kind of thing.
That's right.
But that's what I love about Nintendo.
Kids, aren't we?
Yeah, that's what I love about Nintendo. And it truly is evident, you know, through you guys and how you speak and your passion is that, you know, one of my favorite things, like, you know, obviously growing up with Mario, but I also really grew up with Zelda too. And one of the things from the Zelda series that really stuck out with me is in one part of Ocarina of Time, I remember when I was playing it, my friends would all come over and we'd try to beat it together as, you know, like 5 and 6 year olds is in order to proceed through the rest of this temple, you must come back with the heart of a child. And I remember like thinking on that as a kid, you know, where it's like, why would I need to be a kid? Like, aren't I more competent? Aren't I more experienced as an adult? Like, don't I have everything I need as adult Link? Why would I need to come back as the younger version of myself? And it like, as I got older, it's learning to remember that as a kid, like, you still have that magic, that wonder. There is some innocence to it, but also the optimism and the hope. You know, we tend to lose that as we get older. And especially with the way the world is, you know, it can really weigh down on you and lose sight of that. So when you have people, you guys have been through the ringer in many different accounts, and the fact that you're still you.
Well, you know, I got to say, if you ever have a health issue in your life, you learn to appreciate normalcy in a way that is nothing else, you know, and as you live, learning to just be grateful for life is so important.
Yeah.
You know, every moment is precious. And to be the child in the moment is to have the humility to allow the moment to be fresh and new. It's so easy to be cynical.
Yeah.
We have millions of people in America that are embracing that cynicism and anger and everything. And it's like, it's so much nice to be compassionate and joyful and loving, to appreciate and to play the game. Play games and have joy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, you guys are getting me all.
Can I mention one thing too? Because, you know, you talk about learning and learning.
Sure.
D. Bradley Baker made a webpage, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Now, first of all, he's a brilliant character actor, a brilliant voiceover artist. And if there is anybody out there that's watching right now and you want to be a voice actor, iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. I mean, he talks about character development, getting an agent, demo reels, the whole process. So that's a great tool for learning that you can spend years playing and working with.
Beautiful.
I'll jump on that bandwagon. I agree with you, Charles, completely. He's amazing, and his informational website is amazing. So yeah.
There you go. Write it down. I want to be a voiceactor.com. Yes.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
He is, in case people all of a sudden go, who? Klaus. Probably one of his best known characters is Klaus on American Dad.
Oh,
The fish.
That's actually, yeah. There you go.
brilliant.
I wanted to, we have obviously not too much time left, but I did have like one or two questions that I saw from.
I was starting to go, we should get to some questions.
Well, I know it'll probably
These are questions.
dive us into another conversation. So only one or two more, but there were a couple that really stood out to me. And obviously, like, let's start with a lighthearted one is what would you consider your favorite Mario game? Whether that was for acting or if it was playing through it, like what would you consider your peak Mario game?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one right now.
I think I've done 125 or 130 games, so it's hard to say which one's my favorite. But 64 was the first time, Mr. Miyamoto, I got a call, Mr. Miyamoto wants you to be in a game, and I'm like, yippee! So 64, Sunshine was incredible. It took me around the world to Australia, meeting lifelong friends, and then 3D World, Odyssey, the Mario Kart Adventures, Luigi's Mansion. So yes.
Yes. I love it. Anybody else? Or is everybody else just yes?
I still am very partial to some of the stuff from my beginning, which was my very first game was Super Mario Strikers. I was Bowser and the Robot Super Team. But then following that, Mario Kart Wii, they used an ad lib of mine that I didn't know until I was playing.
Oh, you didn't know I got added in?
So that was, well, because they do this thing to you where they go, okay, we need you to be celebrating after a win. Okay, so you're like, and you just do this, you're going and going and going, and you're running out of steam, and then eventually you go, and they use it in the game.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
That whole na 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 as Bowser, I didn't know what else to do, and they
You ran out. Yeah.
And then probably secondary to that, I mean, I really love Odyssey. I'm still playing Odyssey. I was playing it day before yesterday, and I'm still not done because I don't spend enough time on it. But 3D World with Meowser is still one of my crowning achievements as Bowser because of Meowser. And I shredded myself for the cause. I could, at the end of that recording session for Meowser, I could taste blood. So I shredded myself.
Actual blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, they were like, do you want to take a break? I'm like, no, if I take a break, everything's just going to seize up. So let's just keep going. And then come back in for a follow-up session. And they were like, we're translating an email from Japan and about the game. And then they said, okay, they liked all that stuff. Let's move on. I was like,
yes.
So, yeah. But there are so many of them. I mean, I pretty much, I'm like Charles. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
But probably 3D World has my top of the list because of what I sacrificed for it.
Gave blood for that game. Yeah.
I was actually performing in a community theater production of Evita during that. And so I recorded Meowser and then 2 or 3 days later had to sing on stage live. And I was all like, oh, this will be fun. But
playing.
Oh, I was Magaldi, the tango singer.
On the night of 1,000 stars.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. That's incredible.
On this night of 1,000 stars. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness.
But I was able to pull it off.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's enough of me.
What about you, ladies?
For me, I'd say 3D World, because that was my first.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That was a very special game to me. It was like, just coming in and doing that for the first time. And it was so much fun. So I have just great memories of working on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
How about
I like the recording. It was really fun to do. Odyssey and the wedding scene, I think, was really amazing.
That seems so huge.
And what'd you say?
I said Odyssey was so huge.
It was.
huge, yeah.
It still is.
So I love that. You know, the game that I'm really interested in and I haven't is Super Mario Party. So many friends have been going, that's an amazing game. So
But there's which Mario Party? There's like a dozen of them.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like two hands worth.
yeah, just the latest, you know, and it's like that's exciting to they're always, I mean, they're always good, you know. So and of course my favorite would always be Mario Kart, just because I love driving, and then that was such a special time in my life.
Yeah. Oh.
I actually have a good memory of, I remember for Mario Kart, one of the places where she goes off the track, and so I was recording the like going into the water, and I just happened to have a glass of water, and I was like, oh no, like into the
water.
the water, and I was like, oh my gosh,
So authentic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was easy for you to take direction and do that again, but wetter.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I'll just gurgle through the water.
I'm sure,
Right.
yeah, some of the
Awesome.
directions y'all get are just like, I'll try my best kind of thing. So,
No, it's like theater. Sometimes it's like do it again, but better.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Be better.
Nintendo is so great though, because their teams are like, it's really collaborative, and so there'll be like 8 people or 6 people or whatever, all there, and everybody's weighing in, and they're supportive, and they're always creative, and so it's like, hey, what about this? And you're just like, wow, this came together because of all these brains and all these ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that's really fun too. And when you feel like you hit it, like once you hit the line and you're like, that was it. And then to recognize everybody else agrees with that or they disagree, that definitely wasn't it. Okay. That was it. Okay.
It's so awesome to be looking through the glass and see them laughing
Yeah.
and knowing that they're not laughing at you, they're laughing at what you did. So
Yeah.
it's like, that's great.
Yeah.
That's something, when you like, I talked about coming to this from theater, that feels so similar to like working in front of a live audience, right? Because
Exactly.
you're recording, you can go do multiple takes. You're still trying to like entertain the people who are like listening. And so
Right.
it's like they act as your little audience as you're doing your stuff,
That
what people are vibing off.
that motion that you just did, like, and I don't remember if it was Odyssey or which session it was that there was a laptop in the cutting room, and I was like, okay, what's the computer for? And they said, oh, the Japanese are watching.
Right.
And I was like,
remember that.
I was like, okie dokie. And then I started going, do my thing. And then I go, huh? I would do this at the laptop, like, huh?
You like it?
Can I just say that too? One of the greatest thing about recording with Nintendo is the people, the directors, the producer, the studios. They're just so nice. They're so
fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're loving, they laugh, they have, oh, that was really great. And then well, can I try this? Sure. It's all positive. And yes, I mean, anyone who wants to be a director should take that lesson of, you don't have to do it like this and like this. Actors are there to have fun and be playful, enjoy. And that's what you do with Nintendo voiceover session. You just have fun. Everybody's having fun. Doesn't matter where an idea comes from.
Oh, sure.
Doesn't matter, as long as it's fun. And that's exactly what everybody's doing. It's just so great.
Oh, I love that. Like, I can't even imagine. Like, I've gotten to work with Nintendo in my own right, and as well as other companies, and there's no comparing or contrasting, but I think there is like a kind of a magic about Nintendo itself where everybody is just so excited and raring to go. It's very refreshing. So
everyone at that company loves the games.
Yeah.
Everybody at that company wants to make the greatest games ever made, and it's all about that. Oh my gosh, we got to do something that's fun and new and different, and and it's just, it works. The passion, the joy, but that's what actors have too. The same passion, the same joy, the same love of the game, the material, of what we're doing, the creative process. It's just absolutely synchronicitous.
Oh, well, I actually have another question here. We'll do like a kind of a speed round kind of thing, but
We'll try.
it's more of a quick question. Someone was saying, you have a very people are particular, and specifically Nintendo is very particular about how characters sound, and So how do you stay consistent? How do you warm up? Like when you're gonna walk in for a session or something, like what gets you in the zone, in the role, to be like, this is the same character. I have to make it sound like, you know, no time has passed since I last voiced this character. What's your warm up process?
I became the character about 30 years ago.
You are this standard.
There is no warm up.
You're the method
it's
actor.
just always there. I dream as Mario, you know. It's just I do. So it's just, you know, let's have fun. Okay, whoopee, you know.
They play you voice reference, which is super helpful.
They do
Oh,
do
okay.
that. Yeah, they do have
So
voice.
you do a what do they call it? A call and repeat or something. I can't remember what they say, but they'll play it and you say a few lines.
So it's
to
almost
kinda
like a
get
tuning
back.
fork or something, just to
Yeah.
get you the pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, it's different with Peach and Toad because Peach is such a high voice and
Yeah.
Toad is such a throat voice. And so a lot of times we'll do the Peach stuff. We'll go first with that. And that one's probably more like my natural voice. And then after that one's done, then we do Toad and just trash the voice. Just go.
Just trash
hit
it.
You know? Yeah. And it kind of just comes. I know it's probably like that for you guys too. Once you start reading it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this. This is all in here. Because I always get scared driving in, like, what if it's not in there anymore? You know, and then it always is, which is just wonderful.
Yeah, with me, I've never been good at warm-ups. Even in theater, they'll be like, warm-ups, and I'm all like,
You're like, let's go. We'll do it live.
You know, I'll go out and I'll do scales and I'll me, blah, 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 blah. And then I go out and I sing. Whenever I get called in for a Bowser thing, what I do is I know the date. 24 hours before, I start just pounding water. I hydrate beyond belief. And then during a session, I'll drink it could be a 2-hour session. I'll drink 6 or 7 20-ounce bottles of water.
Wow.
While I'm doing that. Well, I mean, he is really like, so it's, I don't know where it comes from. I don't question it. So, but I am my voice's worst enemy because I don't like warming up. When I do anime sessions, they'll be like, okay, be here at 1 p.m. blah blah blah. As I'm driving over, I put on music that has a lower register, just to get the vocal cords flapping. So I'll do like Charles, you've been around long enough, as I have, that you know Tennessee Ernie Ford. Back in the 16 tons, I have 16 tons on a drive, and I will be all like, some men are that you just go blah, 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 blah. And you're singing, but it's at such a low register that everything
That is a warm-up.
flapping.
Yeah.
It is a warm-up.
Yeah.
It's a warm up.
So I like to sing as a warm-up, but I don't like to strain singing as a warm-up. So
Fair.
yeah.
That's actually,
I warm up like if it's a morning session, I definitely need to warm up. My voice is a lot lower in the morning. So
Mine too. Mine.
But I will say, like, if I'm auditioning, if I get an audition from my agent and it's for a character that's supposed to have a gravelly voice, I will hop out of bed and do that audition before my voice is warmed up.
There you go.
I'm already living there. But if it's like, certainly for doing something like, things that are pitched higher, then yeah, I better warm up, and I will warm up in the car. So I'm sure I look like a maniac to people because I'm, like
going
my
for
mouth,
it. Yeah.
like doing all your articulation stuff, and then going, vocal roll. I always keep my windows up, and then a lot of times if I'm at a traffic light and I can see people looking, I'll like stop for a second and then go, okay, now we're going. I'll do my
That's the 1 Adam 12, 1 Adam 12. We have a lunatic on the highway.
Yeah, there you
We're
go.
right back to 1 Adam 12. Look how we've come full circle.
Wow.
Really quick, what would you say is like, because obviously for those of you who, you're traveling to conventions and you're meeting lots of fans, Mr. Charles, I was so bummed because I went to too many games and our booths were right next to each other. And I was so excited to get to meet you, but our autograph panels were at like the exact same time. So I kept looking over, and you're taking pictures with everybody. And I'm like, I want to be there. So when they asked me,
you should have come over and just said hi.
Well,
Yeah.
I play video games for a
Always.
living. I'm not like, you know, something special. I'm just one part of a podcast. But I remember just like looking over and seeing everybody smile, and it was just so cool. But when you're at conventions, what would you say is the most top requested voice line that they ask you to do?
Gosh, you know, they just want to hear anything for the most part.
Anything you can give them.
And I, you know, when I autograph, I do the character voices so they can hear them, you know, just because to me, an autograph isn't worth anything, but the experience with the fan is is everything. And boy, that Too Many Games was such a great show. It was really, really wonderful. I wish, can next time just come over and say hi.
I'll say hi. Yeah, we'll probably be there
That's
again.
so great.
Yeah.
That invitation goes probably for all of us. So,
Absolutely.
but yeah, it's the same thing with me. I'm just going to jump in, so we're moving along.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. People come up to the table and they go, "Oh, hi, you know, I want to get an autograph," or even they're like, "I just wanted to say hi," and I'll go, "Hi," and they go, "Oh my God, he did the thing." Or like Charles says, they get an autograph. I'm signing the print. And as I'm writing, wah, ha, 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 I'm going, well, I'm going to give this a, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, do the voice for the people.
Yeah.
And isn't it amazing how so little as doing that voice can bring so much joy?
Absolutely.
Well,
It's just
it
beautiful.
triggers like
Absolutely.
the inner serotonin, just, you know, and you're like, oh, my ear.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know, and
My brain just exploded.
I'm so grateful for those shows too, because, you know, you get to hear the impact that you have in people's lives, and you know, to do such a little thing as to go yippee and have people be happy, or see a little child skipping away.
Oh man, they're like, you're the voice of my childhood.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. I love the shows and love the fans. The fans are the reason that we get to do anything that we do.
Yeah.
The voices in the games, go to the shows. So my gratitude is just huge every minute.
Oh. Rosalina, Peach? Any particular lines that they just want you to say, or is it pretty much whatever you choose to give them?
I haven't done a convention yet.
Wait, what?
I've never been to one, so I'm hoping to change that this coming year, but I don't know.
I don't know how we make this happen, but whoever's listening, if you can make it happen. Yeah.
We want Deanna Mustard too. We
Yes.
want
Yeah.
all 3 princesses.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Right?
goodness. I have 2 sisters. We're each 14 months apart. So my parents were a little busy, but I remember like growing up and we'd each identify with different
14
characters.
months, yeah.
And it was like 2 princesses for the longest time, right? So it's always like there's 3 girls and 2 princesses. So I was just like, oh, you know, like I'll be Toad, and I could do it. I talk in Toad voice all the time now.
Cool.
Yeah, but now when Rosalina got added in, we're like, there's 3, there's a 3rd one, and it was so cool. And my niece,
Pulling out the woodwork.
yeah, my niece was she was born on Christmas Eve. And last year, so she's about to turn 1. But my brother-in-law, he just loves walking around the house talking as Mario. And like now seeing him as a dad, you know, like, and she's just like, I'm not biased or anything, but she is just a really sweet, you know, like kid. You know, some are just, you know, they cry a lot more, and she loves her father, you know. So like to see him like talking Mario to her, and I'm like, bro, he's gonna pass on the next generation of Mario onto her.
That's
like
so good.
they gave her she has a Daisy plush now. Like people
Mario
are just,
and Bowser.
yeah, so it's just introducing the next generation, you know, and it's just
Yeah.
it's so cool. So, you know, it's like you
Profound honor and a joy from our perspective to be able to touch.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
I think I don't know if my brother-in-law is actually watching right now, but him and my sister met by doing city theater together. So that's like, I love the fact that you are talking about, you know, doing acting, getting yourself out there, putting yourself in the spot, but also like channeling it and getting that repetition down. It's so important.
Community theater, that is my biggest it's my biggest advice for people. It's like, do community theater. It'll get you going. And anyway, I'm not going to do it again.
That and reading out loud. Reading out loud is a great thing.
Reading out loud.
You read
Yes,
something
ma'am.
that could be potentially boring, but you decide, I'm going to take this and I'm going to own this and I'm going to make this the most exciting insurance thing that you've ever seen. And you just read it with funny voices, and practice reading it as if you were saying it to a friend rather than reading it as if you're reading it.
Well, and even beyond that is recording yourself reading out loud.
That's the toughest part, is hearing your own voice back, like after the fact. I feel like that's so tough.
I hearing my own voice.
Do you really?
But I've gotten to the point where I understand that that's what I sound like, but I can still judge, like, I sound phony. You know, you're a phony, a big fat phony. But it's listening to yourself. Tape and ape. That's one of my other things. I'm like tape and ape, which is taping commercials or whatever it is kind of genre that you want to go into. Tape things and then do them and then listen to yourself, because you can develop so many skills from just going, that sounded not good, and then you fix it.
When I record auditions, I usually record them early in the day and edit them a few hours later, because right after, I'll be like, I know what I was trying to do, but when I've kind of forgotten about it, like even if it's a day later, if I have the luxury of that time, a lot of times you don't, but if it's even a few hours later, I'll go, oh yeah, it wasn't, I know what I was trying to do, but it doesn't sound like that. With a little bit of distance on it, you can sometimes listen and be like, right.
I'm gonna take that. I'm going to take that, because I am very bad about audition, listen, edit.
Send.
All in one go.
I do need to distance myself a little bit.
Giving it that little break sometimes, then you go, oh, right, okay. I thought I sounded warm and friendly, but I actually sound rushed.
We all sound so technical now.
Yeah, or you thought that or especially sending 2 takes, sometimes realizing they sound really similar. Really different to you right after, because you knew what you were trying to do in the other take. But sometimes, like with that space, you go, it's kind of like soup followed by soup. Like there's no big difference there. Like, mix that up.
Okay.
It's important just so I can say that you're criticizing the performance, not the performer. And that's, I think, for young actors, don't criticize yourself. Listen lovingly and respond by making the adjustments, directing yourself to create the things that you want to do.
I think self-direction is one of the hardest things about auditioning. I think self-direction is, to me, it's really hard. Some people may find it really easy, but me, self-direction is, I can have the best specs in the world, and I'm like, did I do what they wanted?
You are your own worst critic.
Sometimes it's important to throw the specs out. You know what I mean? Like
you're dead on. You're dead on.
You do it to the specs, and then like Charles was talking about, you do the second one, you just do something, and
just
a lot of times, they like the second one.
And then it goes back again to what I said before: set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Where you mean it in your heart.
Don't agonize over it.
Right. See, acting is like being a dog chasing a ball or a stick on a beach. Eventually the dog doesn't criticize himself in the moment. How am I wonder if I should run or trot or do it like this, or I wonder if he's going to like the way I did it. You get that stuff out and get the ball, get that stick and bring it back and get it again and bring it back. That's your single focus, is the play of that moment and that character.
I love
do that, be in that presence, and then afterwards listen to see, did I get what I wanted? Oh no, okay, I'm gonna try it again. Okay, I try it again, and then do it like that. But if you're saying, oh God, you suck, that was terrible, unbelievable, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Celebrate it.
Love yourself and get back into it as somebody who's having fun in the sandbox.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You said celebrate it, Samantha?
Celebrate it. Yeah, because I think that's the other thing, is that allow yourself to be delighted by what you do. And so when you're done, you can go, this is fantastic, and surround yourself with people who will celebrate you as well. And I think you're encouraging the best parts of yourself if you can do that. So, yeah. And you can delight yourself. I love it, Laura, that like later you listen. Do you ever listen back and you go, wow, I am good? Or I'm like really good.
I love what you just said, Sam, because it is so much like entertaining yourself is important. Like if you like it, like if you're like, I don't know if this is going to be anyone else's cup of tea, but I love this. That is one of my favorite auditions to do, where you're just like, I don't know. I mean, they'll love it or they won't. But if I walk away from an audition and I'm like, I did the best I could do, I left it all in the booth. Like that to me is my favorite take. And so sometimes, yeah, I'm like, oh, listen, I'm like, that's still making me laugh. Like I still think that's funny. And for me, that's good enough. I'll send it. Maybe they'll get it, maybe they won't. But if I wouldn't have done anything different, then I'm like, it just may not have been my turn, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
We never got to hear what your favorite line was to do, or that people wanted you to do at conventions.
Yeah.
It depends, because whether it's if they play Smash Brothers or if they play, it just depends on what game that they play, as what line will be the best. But I think for me, the best part about conventions and people coming and asking for lines or doing lines is that it's very humbling, because a fan will come and they can do those lines better than I do, I mean, they're so good. And it's very humbling. It's awesome. I love it. But I love when we sign, I do love to do the lines, and especially for little kids, because it blows their mind. That doesn't look like how Princess Peach looks or whatever, but to have the voice come, it's kind of this, you can see it coming together in their brain. And so it's really fun to get to witness that moment too.
Yeah, I think it's particularly exceptional. I think for me growing up and learning, like putting the face to the voice, is a little bit different. But I think it truly stands out when your heart speaks more than even just like connecting the face does. When you not necessarily have to feel the weight or the responsibility of the character, but you just spread the joy. Like the same feeling that they get from the character, they also get from you. And, of course, different actors and actresses, don't always do that. And that is a different experience. But for actors that really do help portray that love and that kind of like, I might not know your particular story, but I'm happy I could be there for you during a hard time. Like that is just so special. And I do want to wrap up with one more question. And if we could, just like one thing, if you could say to your younger self, or, obviously to someone in the audience who might be listening, like if you had one thing you could tell your younger self, what would that one thing be? Like when you were first starting out in this career, and like whether that was to change or to encourage yourself, like what would that one thing be?
I love
Buy
you.
more Apple stock.
Oh, where were you, Charles? Where were you? I just think love. I think that like if you can just know that you're beloved, you're a beautiful creation, and that others will love you too. And I was always worried about that. And it's like, no, love yourself. Others will love you. And you're worthy of love.
Oh, and you're like one of the most beautiful princesses ever. Like you guys are like the Super Mario princesses. Like, come on. Like you're beautiful, you're graceful, but you can also kick butt. You can race cars, fly wherever you want. Come on. You can freaking punch it with the rest of them. Like, oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. I love that. All right. How about Miss Laura Faye?
I would say, just if like kind of a piece of advice, remembering it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like this success doesn't always come right away. You kind of never know. If you love it, if you're having fun, staying in it and continuing to do it is really important. And, continuing to be willing to learn and grow and change from it, and just kind of relax and follow the fun, and keep doing that. Not expecting it to be like, the first thing I didn't get the top amazing thing, so I should give up. I'm not good at this. Like, I think tendency for people to be really hard on themselves if it's not instant gratification. And this is kind of the long game.
Most definitely. Mr. Kenny?
One of my first experiences performing in front of people was at a talent show. I think it was in 6th grade. And I was singing a song and I spaced the lyrics on the second verse. And I remember faking my way through it and finishing the song. And at that time, I didn't think anything of it, really. I mean, I was in 6th grade. What are you, 12 years old? You know? But I think that what I got from that was, to me, was that felt like something I wanted to do, performing in front of people, and I didn't do it early enough. I think that if I had followed that earlier, that I may have had more time, instead of waiting until I was 40 to start acting. I wish I'd have started earlier. So if you feel the need to act, then do it. As soon as it comes into your head, just do it. And once again, it goes back to theater. Community theater doesn't cost you anything. Well, except travel to and from the theater.
And time.
And time. But I mean, come on, if you want to act, then the time is inconsequential.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, just do it. I mean, I sound like a Nike ad now, but just do it. If you want to do it, then just do it.
Mr. Martinet?
Well, you know, the things that I've been saying today, you know, love yourself, be your best friend. Everything's going to be fun and okay. And go out and have as much fun as you can possibly have, because life is so sweet and such a beautiful treasure. And you must enjoy and be grateful for any moment of normalcy and happiness. Create it, have fun with it, and be joyful. Seek happiness, because you'll find it.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean,
love. Start with yourself,
Yeah.
and then love others.
yeah, love is honestly one of the greatest things of all. And so
Love is all we need.
there you go.
It's when we're at our best, is when
Yeah.
we're acting in a loving way.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know?
But that's what's amazing, though, is I think, you know, specifically Super Mario is just, it is fun and games and friendly competition, but you can tell the characters love each other.
Yes.
Maybe Mario and Bowser have a little love-hate relationship. You know, Peach, I'm sure, has her own opinion on how that happens, you know, and I'm sure Rosalina's up in the clouds sometimes being like, oh, you know, and then Daisy's just like, hi, I'm Daisy, you know, so... you know, it's definitely, this is a very surreal experience for me, you know, as a gamer and growing up as a fan. It really means a lot. I know chat just couldn't stop talking about it from the moment this, you know, panel was first brought up and whatnot. And chat actually, Miss Samantha, chat wanted me, they wanted to know if you could rate my Toad voice.
All right.
If it's possible.
Okay, yes, I will.
So, I guess I just like you were talking about Toad voice just trashes your voice.
Do
I
it,
guess
baby.
mine's
Yep.
just constantly trash.
You got this. Yep.
Okay, so chat, this is for you. I love you. Thank you. We just celebrated 5 years, and so they're like, okay, for 5 years you have to do something for us, you know. So
This is great. This
gonna
is
be
great.
awesome.
can you give me a
Okay.
sentence to say or something?
Why don't you say? Well, he doesn't. Yeah, we're not really talking with words. Let's go.
Right.
You want to do let's go?
Okay, so if I'm Toe, I'll be like, oh, let's go. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me part of this panel. Oh my gosh, I've been having so much fun. I can't do the Peach voice, nowhere near. But sometimes, like my cat will be running across the room, like, wow, look at you go! You're going so fast! Oh my god!
Awesome.
Tearing up my couch.
Okay, chat loves that. I know it.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, we were playing
Yes.
we were playing a Zelda. When Skyward Sword came out, someone came in the chat. They're like, guys, I found out. We're like, what? And they're like, you know the voice of Peach, right? The voice of Peach. And we're like, yeah, of course, she's iconic. And like, she also does Toad. And everybody looks at me and I'm like, oh, don't look at me. I didn't know this. And I was sitting there, I was like, there's no way. Like, it's the fact that like you guys all have such incredible range, but for some reason, it blew my mind that you could go from like, to like, wow, you know, it was so cool. So that was just like a little moment we had like a couple months ago, but it really made a difference.
Does your cat like the Toad voice, or
He
it's all right?
he's still asleep, so I don't think he minds it.
It didn't bother him. Okay.
He didn't wake up at all.
It bothers
so.
Kenny like nails on a chalkboard.
It's, That is it's so weird.
Kenny hates it.
Oh my
That's
god.
how I know it's good.
Oh. Well,
If you drop that like an octave and a half, then you can go.
I don't know if I can get that low.
There you go.
I'm kind of. I can't do it. That's incredible. Oh, well, I did seriously want to thank you guys again for being here. Again, Streamily is the one. They're the people who helped make this happen. So again, in my bio, guys, there is a link to the Streamily store where you can purchase prints for them to autograph, or you can do ! autograph in the chat, and it'll pop up there for you. The link is there.
Samantha and Kenny and I are all doing ours on the same day. It's a week from today, right? We're all on the 10th, I think.
On the 10th,
On
yeah.
Instagram,
Sam,
yes.
you're at 10 or 11?
I think 11 for me.
11. I'm at 2, and Kenny, you're at 4. All on-
4, which is, I don't remember what time zone.
Oh, right, time zone.
Are they
Mine
all?
is-
Are they
Sam
all?
and I are Pacific.
I'll figure it.
Okay.
I'll figure it out.
So make
Tomorrow,
sure.
Penny.
Yes,
Charles,
make
I
sure.
don't know when yours is. Are you doing one?
I'm not doing that one, but I'm happy to be here right now.
Yay.
Oh,
Okay.
we're so glad you were here.
You know, by the way, MissClick, you're absolutely a fabulous interviewer.
Oh.
Really, really great. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, this is like my first
Yeah.
one. So,
And you're beautiful, and you're a beautiful human too.
Thank you.
We just adore you.
well, you guys helped raise me in a way, so no pressure at all. You know. So thank you for being part of my childhood as well, because as my parents explicitly remind me all the time, you are a youngin'. You will always be a youngin'. Even after I'm gone, you're a youngin'. So,
To
you know.
me, you look like a really youngin'. You look like you're about 22.
I always get 22. You know, I'll take it. It's a Taylor Swift song. No, I'll be turning 27 in this coming year.
Well,
So
good for you.
Work,
thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's I don't know, it's probably the Florida water
Can't
or
even
something.
remember when I was 22.
You can't?
Barely.
Barely.
I was in the Navy at the time.
Oh,
I don't
true.
know.
It's all blur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had ships back then?
Oh, yeah. We even had submarines.
No.
Oh. Well, I guess we should go ahead and say goodbye to chat and to everybody watching at home.
Okay.
This will also be uploaded to YouTube as well. So if you're wanting to catch this on video on demand, aka VOD, you'll be able to check that out on my YouTube channel, MissClick Gaming. So again, thank you to everybody who watched live. You guys are amazing. I hope you go and get your prints, go get them signed. And yeah, for those of you watching at home, we will see you in the next one. As I like to say, stay awesome, stay beautiful, and stay savage. And I'll let these guys sign off however they so choose. Take it away, you
Thank
guys.
you very much for playing my games. You number one. Woohoo!
Bye-bye.
Mwah.